Hi, welcome to CHURCH360 podcasts, your favorite podcast where we talk about the church and looking at about the scripture to discuss the different things that is happening in the church and how we can do church the better way. I am Akachi Habat, your host.
And I'm Ochukwu Igugu, your co-host.
Yes, and today's episode is a very, very interesting one. Are you ready for today's episode?
Of course, I'm ready. I was born ready.
You're born ready. Awesome. So today we'll be answering a very big question.
Yeah,
I would think this question is big because of what and who is involved in this question.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we ready to ask the question?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. So
I put it already.
Okay. So on today's episode, we are looking to answer the question: does God have a tattoo?
That's a big one.
Yeah. It is. In fact, the statement is even scaring me. Yeah. Does God have a tattoo? Can we really answer this question?
Of course, I think we can. I think we can.
We can.
Yeah.
Why do you think we can?
We have the scriptures. Yeah. It's called the Book of Life.
It's called the Book of Life. Also,
there's a lot of things, examples.
Yeah.
So I believe that if we delve deep into the book, we'll be able to get answers to this question.
Awesome. Okay. Now, before we go into like the Bible to try to, just as we do on this podcast, everything we say is based on the scriptures. We don't just come with our opinions and think of something, our personal opinions.
No.
But before we go into the scriptures, we need to look at like some elements in this question. Like the two key elements. First is God, and then the second is tattoo.
Tattoo, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What is a tattoo? We need to define,
of course,
what it is.
The tattoo is.
Yeah, before we can answer the question.
And
for us not to just give top of the head definition, I think we should look at dictionary meaning of what a tattoo is. If you have, you can.
I have it open here. So, according to the Oxford Dictionary, a tattoo is a permanent mark made on the skin by inserting pigment through punctures. So there has to be a skin. Yes, tattoo is a permanent mark.
Permanent.
Permanent.
Yeah.
Made on the skin.
Skin
by inserting pigment through punctures.
Whoa. Wow.
So there has to be there has to be punctures on the skin.
Yeah.
Which is inked to create the tattoo.
So from this definition, which I'm guessing is Oxford.
Oxford.
Yeah. For something to be a tattoo, okay, you mean if I write something on the wall right now, it cannot be a tattoo?
No. It has to be on the skin.
Even if I use like a permanent marker.
It has to be on the skin.
It has to be on the skin.
Yeah, the skin has to be punctured. And ink has to go into those punctures to create a tattoo.
So for something to be called a tattoo, or for an inscription to be called a tattoo, it has to be on a skin.
And not just being on the skin, there has to be punctures.
The skin has to be punctured.
Yeah, the skin has to be punctured. So there will be punctures, and those punctures, that's where the pigment, the ink will be introduced to create the tattoo.
Wow.
So meaning no skin, no tattoo.
No skin, no tattoo.
Yeah, no skin, no tattoo. So you need a skin to have a tattoo.
You need a body, a skin to have a tattoo.
Yeah.
So I think we are establishing something here about what a tattoo is.
What a tattoo
is. Before we can now answer the question if God has
one or not.
Have one or not.
Of course.
Okay. But why would one actually? Okay. Before I come to that.
Okay.
Now, who is God?
God is spirit. It's a spirit. Yeah. According to John 4 verse 24, it says God is spirit.
God is spirit. But the same Bible told us that we are created in the image and likeness of God. Is that not literally this image that we are seeing?
According to the scripture, when God says, let us create man in our image and likeness, he was referring to the spiritual and functional resemblance. Spiritual and functional resemblance. just as God has authority. Like you remember in the Garden of Eden when He said He gave man authority as to rule over all living creatures and everything. That's the authority. That's one of the resemblance of God in terms of authority.
Are you trying to say that God doesn't have skin?
No, He doesn't have a skin. When He said, "Let us create man in our own image and likeness," He wasn't referring to the physical nature.
Okay.
He was referring to the resemblance in terms of functionality and spirituality. He wasn't referring to skin. He wasn't referring to skin. No.
Wow. I think this is very, very important. What you just pointed out right now is very important. If a tattoo has to be on his skin, that is on the body, the question now is, does God have his skin for him to carry a tattoo? And if God is a spirit, and like you said, him creating us in his own image and likeness is not necessarily like just physical
Physically,
bodies.
no, not physical body at all. Spiritual and functional.
Okay, but what will make one actually think in the first place that God has a tattoo?
I think that might come from several scriptures in the Bible, like the one in Isaiah 49 verse 19, where He said, "See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands." Yes. So like that particular scripture, it's a prophetic poetry. God was trying to tell us about His commitment, how much He likes us, how much He remembers us, that we are permanently carved. Permanently carved. We cannot be erased. So that's what's talking about God's commitment. God's commitment. It wasn't talking about, it wasn't saying literally that God inked us on the palm of His hands. No.
But again, don't you think that if God was just trying to paint a picture there, He would have said something like as He would have used the word just as people inscribe things, I have also inscribed. There's some part of the Bible where He literally will use the word.
Yes, to make you know that, okay, this is what I'm trying to explain to you.
Yeah, but then He actually said, I have engraved you in my. So is that not Him saying like He has tattoos on His body?
Well, we all know, according to the book of John, chapter 4, verse 24, it said God is spirit. So, like, if we don't have a skin, there's no tattoo. That's just it. God is spirit. God is spirit. He has no skin, no physical body.
Okay. How about the example of Revelations? Yeah, Revelations chapter. What's chapter again? I think
chapter 19, verse 16, where the Bible recorded that on his robe and his tie,
Jesus.
talking about Jesus, yes, on his robe and his tie, is written King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. That's just symbolic, apocalyptic literature. It's just talking about the authority and kingship of Jesus. It's talking about the strength and all of that. It's not literal. He's not saying that King of Kings and Lord of Lords is written on his robe and his tie. No, that's not what it means. It's talking about the kingship, the authority and strength of Jesus.
I agree with you in this point, because I think if Jesus wanted to really show us that He had tattoo, He should have done that when He was in the human flesh.
Yeah, I mean, of course, when He had the human flesh. Amongst us humans, yes, He had flesh, and he even had the loss of temptation and all of that.
Exactly. The Bible says He was tempted.
Yes, He would have gotten one then. Yeah.
So I really think that would have been the best place for Jesus to show us that tattoo, like that He has tattoo.
Yeah, that would have been the best time for Him to show us that, yes, I have one. Not.
Or was it that Jesus had tattoo during that time and we just didn't know?
Oh well, the only time that I remember that Jesus had a mark on His body was due to His crucifixion, where He had those where He told Thomas, "Put your finger in my palm," because that was a real scar, that was a real mark, and that mark was not decorative. It was not for fashion, so to say.
Yeah.
It was a redemptive mark.
Yeah.
Because of that mark, we are being redeemed unto the Father.
Yeah, and those were fulfillments of the
Of the scriptures.
Yeah, I mean, he was bruised.
Yes, it was
for
bruised for
iniquity, and So, if I think if Jesus wanted to show us that he had tattoo, or if he wanted to confirm, he would not do that on the incorruptible body.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what the kind of body he has right now. We know it's not this corruptible body.
Of course.
That can, so
yields to
exactly, and we know clearly that the what's it called, the Revelations was talking about the end time. He wasn't talking about Jesus' time when he was on earth. He was clearly talking about Jesus' time, like, I mean,
what's to come. Exactly. What's to come.
Exactly. So if tattoo has to be on the skin, right? Jesus would have done it when he was in the human form.
Yeah, where he had the body and the skin.
Yes, that would make it a tattoo. So I don't think that scripture, Revelations 19:16, was painting a picture of Jesus having tattoo.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying categorically that particular scripture was not referring to a tattoo. Yeah, it was referring to Jesus' strength, authority, and kinship. Yes, that's what that particular scripture was referring to. It wasn't referring to a physical tattoo on his thigh or an inscription on his robe. All of that was referring to his authority, his strength, and his kingship.